Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing well. I am doing great. So, today I'm actually here to share this podcast, but also to announce some good news. Maybe it's going to be sad news for someone, but I think it is good news in good time. So, today actually will be my last share on the podcast Beautiful for this season. So, I just decided that this will be a summation or just the end of season one, excuse me, of the podcast Beautiful. So, yeah, that's the good news. I think I have been able to share quite a few things and also to grow as I have been sharing. However, I do promise that I will definitely be back for definitely with season two. Season one was mainly focused on EB, which is external beauty, but season two will have something special. So, yeah, I just wanted to give that good news before we start anything. Otherwise, my name is Leanne, and thank you so much for joining today's podcast. So, literally, today I will just be just sharing a few thoughts on beauty and my views without having anything structured. Just, even just giving my thoughts or some encouragement to anyone out there or to myself, even because um, beauty is never, you know, it's never something that you can say, oh, I have 100% beauty in my cup. So there's always room to fill up on with beauty, right? So, point number one that I think would be something that I would like to share on today is definitely on the all round externally, of course, because this season I did not touch on internal beauty. So, I will share today on a few things, as I have said before. Okay, I feel like I'm just beating about the bush. Please forgive me. This has not been structured in any way at all. So I'll just be moving from one point to the next, right? So, first thing, I think it's very good to acknowledge, first and foremost, for me, and this is obviously due to my religion or to my religious belief, the presence of God and His importance in beauty. I think it's, as I mentioned in the very first episode, that God defines beauty, and I think just want to remind everybody that God is the one who defines beauty. He's the one who can say, this is it, this is not it, or no, you're doing a little bit too much here, or, maybe you need to do a little bit here and things like that. Ultimately, of course, we have our own choices, of course, we have our own styles and different things like that. But I just want to acknowledge just the presence, or not the presence, or the importance of God in the topic of beauty. So I don't know where exactly, maybe the person who's listening to this, I don't know where your relationship with God is, or where you have been in your relationship with God. But I think when looking at beauty, it's very important to have that knowledge of God as the beautifier. I was actually thinking about a song from called Beautifier by Marizu, but literally God is the one who beautifies us. I think that's very important before we take in what friends, what family, what spouses, what enemies, what things, what people, what society may say. I think it's very important for us to know that God is the one who defines and determines our beauty. So I just wanted to put that out there. God created us, just to encourage all of us that God created us. He loves us. He made us who we are. And there's always beauty. God said good at every point of His creation. So if in case somebody doesn't feel beautiful, maybe even after listening to the podcast, and maybe somebody doesn't feel beautiful at the end, so that's to some of the previous episodes that I shared, one place to start is definitely remembering that God sees us as beautiful. Even if, let's say, for example, you got bit by a ton of bees on your face, or you just broke out for absolutely no reason, or maybe your skin is just acting up. Just knowing that still you are still beautiful. As I mentioned in one of the other episodes, beauty is part of identity. So I cannot say to myself, you're not beautiful, or plain out, you're ugly. I think that would just be wrong. But, we do say that to ourselves and we do say that to other people. But just having that knowledge that I was created intentionally by somebody who values me and, who sees that beauty in me, it's very important. This is on a personal level. Before you go anywhere else, just knowing that you are beautiful. Even if you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh, today things are not really cutting it. Sometimes you can look at yourself in the mirror and just be like, what is going on today? Like, what is going on? But I think it's very important to always have that thought at the back of your mind that someone is looking at you and is delighted with you, who sees you as beautiful. Of course, sometimes we fall back. Of course, sometimes we make mistakes. We do things. We don't look as good as we could be or as we should be at that particular point. But just knowing that beauty is not depleted as long as we are connecting it to God, I think it's a very, very, very important. And then the second thing, rather, I would just think to touch on, just as we close today, just to remember that beauty is very, I would say, individualistic or individual. Beauty is that's why they have that saying, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. First we talked about God, now we're introducing people, right? So I cannot expect every person to think that, oh my goodness, this is the most beautiful person in the world. Beauty by human beings has context. Some people think that darker people are beautiful. Some people think that lighter people are beautiful. Some people think that shorter people. Some people think that taller people. People see beauty differently, right? So that helps us not to be too hard on ourselves or too tough on ourselves, because when you meet somebody, let's say you like someone, somebody sees you as not beautiful, it doesn't mean that you're not. It just means that from their context, how they define beauty, you might not measure up to that. So I think it's very important. It helps us handle matters, it helps us handle situations and many different things better. Right? Just knowing that it's something that is very individualist, I don't know, let me say subjective. I was trying to run away from that, but it's very subjective, right? So with that being said, we introduce God, we start with God, and then we introduce people, like other people, now bringing it to ourselves. It's important for me to embrace my personal beauty. Like, because somebody else is beautiful because they have a softer skin does not mean that because I don't have a softer skin, I'm not beautiful. I should embrace the kind of skin that I have with myself and let that be me, and embrace my own beauty, right? So if somebody else maybe has a certain shape or a certain type, that's their beauty. The beauty that I have is mine. Of course, you can go to the gym, you can work on a few things, but whatever best you have, embracing it and loving it, I think is a very, very important thing, especially dealing with external beauty, right? So now, yeah, those are the three components that, beauty in relation with God, beauty in relation with other people, and beauty in relation with myself, the individual who is becoming beautiful. Because I think being beautiful is a journey, honestly, because as I said, I think in some of the previous episodes, I'm sorry, I'm going to be quoting from some of the previous episodes because I'm just doing a rundown or kind of like a summation of the entire season, I'd say. So, in the previous episode, I think I mentioned that beauty it's like a moving wheel. It's not stagnant. I can't expect myself to be as beautiful as I was when I was 5 years old. can expect myself at 25 to be as beautiful as I was at 18. No, maybe 18 is a little bit close, but like at 10 or at 30 or 40, I can't expect myself to be as beautiful as I was maybe. And at a different stage, beauty is like a moving wheel. It changes, it evolves, it moves as we grow, it changes, right? So I think it's very important for us to chase beauty, in whatever stage I am in. Sometimes you might be poor, not doing so well financially. So you cannot expect, sometimes this is going to help maybe on the financial side. I can't expect myself to be looking as beautiful as somebody who can afford certain types of products or certain types of massages, and chase beauty in that current financial situation. That also definitely helps with spending within your means. If I'm getting maybe 50,000 a year, okay, in in the United States of America, I'll put this in this context, in the United States of America. If you're getting like 50,000 a year, chase beauty in that financial range. Not saying that, oh, don't spend much on yourself, but don't put no, don't not to. I'm just trying to put it out that we should not put pressure on ourselves for beauty, that like in stages or in phases of life that we are not able to reach, especially with finances, right? So yeah, so that came from the point of chasing beauty at every stage that we are at. If I'm not earning much, still chase beauty in that financial situation, even though it's not too much, to still chase it to the best of your ability, not breaking yourself up or not being going overboard as well. And then also in beauty, chasing beauty at the age that you're at. I think I touched on that at the previous point. Just try to chase beauty at whatever age you're at. If you're 70, chase beauty at the 70s age group beauty. I'm not saying that all 70-year-old women or men should dress the same way, but whatever. I'm just trying to say that, not to feel so sad, like, oh my goodness, I'm so old, I'm not beautiful. No, there's beauty at every stage and at every level, right? And then I'm trying to think of a different way or a different stage that we can chase beauty at, even like just different emotional stages. Sometimes you're sad, like things are not going well. Sometimes you're very stressed, but still to chase beauty in that point. I think it's very important to always be chasing beauty at no matter what different stage, of life we're in. Excuse me. And then now, I think this will be, we'll see how it goes here. I'm literally just laying things out today, nothing structured, but just sharing my thoughts basically. So I think another thing that is very important is health. I think definitely health is very important with beauty. I've seen myself when I'm healthier, especially to do with my lungs. When my lungs are feeling much healthier, my skin looks much better. But if my lungs are not so healthy, my skin also shows. So I think it's good as we pursue beauty. I think we should pursue it in the context of health. If the beauty we're not pursuing is putting our health in danger, like wearing maybe belts that are so tight, like all in the name of having a thin waist, like I think it's a corset, like those tight corsets. That's very detrimental, especially for us with women, the womb and everything like that. Even anybody, for blood circulation. I think it's important for us to consider health. whenever we are chasing beauty or trying to be beautiful.